Hello, here I am again, sitting on my couch. We are going to go through Module 12. Module 12 will be another of your module a week. So I'm skipping a large section in this because when we do our dissections, I'm going to be going over that. So I'm going to skip the whole section on the crayfish. Then when we go to dissect the crayfish, we will have new, fresh information. Okay, so we're going to start on page 361, Module 12. All right, here we go. We're just a minute in, and here we're getting started. I'm going to touch on these. There's some of them that I may not go into greatest detail on, but I don't think you're going to need for me to go into really great detail here, okay? One of the reasons is because you're familiar with it. This is Arthropoda, and you're going to know so much about these already, okay? Now, let's see, top paragraph in this module will study the most populous phylum in invertebrates, the phylum Arthropoda. This phylum contains crayfish, lobsters, spiders, scorpions, and insects. In fact, it contains more species of all the phyla in kingdom Animalia combined. Now, would you go push off on that, please? The common characteristics, okay? Some of these are going to be different ways. The common characteristics of an Arthropoda are going to be, some of them are going to be different in each class, but these are what most of them have in common, okay? All those classes have in common. One, all arthropods have exoskeletons. Exo means on the outside, skeleton is a skeleton. It is the structure of your body. It is what holds everything up. If you have an internal skeleton, so if you were to not have bones, you would just be a big ball of muscle and goo on the floor, okay? So it's what gives us structure. So in the case of the arthropod, the exoskeleton gives it its structure. It's made of chitin. This chemical has a useful property of being both tough and flexible. The hard, tough exoskeleton can be like a suit of armor. Unlike suits of armor, however, exoskeletons serve other purposes. Arthropods must be able to move around or fly, so they're not crazy heavy like a suit of armor. I mean, can you imagine going flying in your suit of armor today? People and all vertebrates get their support from their skeletons. Arthropods get theirs from their exoskeletons. Again, exo means outside, skeleton means support. Now, this is what's really cool. I have a story. Can you imagine that? If an arthropod has its exoskeleton, how does it grow? I mean, it's not born in that exoskeleton, right? So something has to happen. Does anybody know what that is? Do you know what that is? Okay, my little girl's over here. It's molting. What happens when they molt is that they shed that outer exoskeleton and their body forms a new one so they can grow. Now, here's the story. Several years ago, before my husband was a pastor, it's been years. I'm going to guess 15 to 20 years ago. So, my husband's family, they still own an exterminating company, and they had a little pet in their office that her name was Big Mama, and Big Mama was a tarantula. She was a big old tarantula, and my brother-in-law brought her in. There's one thing I don't like spiders. Well, there's a lot of stuff I don't like. I don't like bugs as a whole, but spiders really get to me. So, Big Mama, one day we noticed that she was really still. and she wasn't moving. She was this terrible shade of gray. I mean, we looked at her, she looked exactly like herself, but something was just wrong. She was gray and not moving, and we were pretty sure she was dead. So my brother-in-law reached inside to get her, and when he did, she jumped out from underneath the rock. What had happened was she had molted, and she left the exoskeleton, and because she was vulnerable, she didn't have this super skeleton to give her structure, to give her safety, to aid in her warmth. She hid under a rock that had a heat lamp on it, and during that time she was forming a new exoskeleton. Now, Big Mama, that exoskeleton was perfect. It had even the little hairs on her little legs. It looked just like her, except it was gray. But she had to molt that off so that she could grow a new one for her bigger growing body. That's pretty cool, huh? So they molt. The second common characteristic is they have body segmentation. They have a thorax, an abdomen, and a cephalothorax. The thorax is the area between the head and the abdomen. Now, we're calling this an abdomen, but it's really more, I'm going to say, like a butt. Okay? It's on their posterior end. Whoop, I dropped my book. Okay. The abdomen is, the thorax is in the middle between the head and the abdomen. The abdomen is like the back. It's its butt. The cephalothorax, the word cephal means head. So it means the head part. Instead, it's the head part and the thorax get fused together. Okay? So cephalothorax means that there's a head, there's a thorax, and then there's that abdomen, or its butt. Okay. The third common characteristic is they are jointed appendages. That means that their arms and legs are jointed. The term arthro means joint. The word pod means foot. So an arthropod literally means jointed foot, and that's what they are. The fourth characteristic is that it has a ventral nervous system. In order to react to stimuli and to seek out prey and to seek protection from the predators, arthropods have to have a nervous system. Two ganglia form a brain, much like that of an earthworm, but it's a little bit more complex. The nervous system is fed with information from various sensory organs. That means there's organs in and around their body that sense the stuff that's going on outside, and they respond to that sensation. They have antennae. Those antennae provide touch, taste, smell, and send those messages to the nervous system. They also have either compound or simple eyes. Look on page 363, you'll see a picture of both. A fly is on the right hand in that picture, figure 12.1. See all those little tiny, looks like little sections of its eye? Those are multiple lenses. They can see out of every one of those. Ugh. Then you've got simple eyes. Now, you've got simple eyes. I have two simple eyes. This nasty looking spider here, he has 8 simple eyes. See how they just look like little bumps? Those are eyes. See how that fly, my hip itches, sorry. See how that fly has all those lenses? That's a compound eye. Turn the page. The fifth characteristic is that they have an open circulatory system. Now, you and me, our circulatory system is all encased within our arteries and our veins. That's called an closed circulatory system. Isn't that funny? So, this is called an open circulatory system. What happens is that the blood comes in through some blood vessels, but then the blood comes and empties out in their insides, and the cells, the blood interacts to specific cells of its organs. So it's not like an artery feeds a kidney, kind of like ours do. The renal artery feeds the kidney. But with this, the blood gets dumped on these organs, and then the organs are at the cellular level are able to absorb the blood and get what it needs out of it. And then it's recycled back through. How amazing is that? That is super cool. Now, we're getting to the part to where we're going to skip. We're going to go to page 376. We're skipping a lot, but that whole section is on the crayfish. And we're going to do the crayfish at a different time when we do our dissection, because it really doesn't take that long to dissect the crayfish. So we're going to take an hour to do that and an hour to go over the lesson. I don't even think it's going to take that long. Okay. Class Arachnida. Yuck. This is the class that has spiders. I don't like spiders. Okay. Organisms in class Arachnida have 5 common characteristics. 4 pairs of walking legs, that means they got 8 legs. A cephalothorax instead of a separate head and thorax. It kills me. Every time I look over and see this picture of the tarantula over there, I think of Nasty Big Mama. And she stunk too. They have some kind of freaky odor, and it's kind of fishy, and it's gross. I'm not kidding. You'd really have to want a spider to get one of them. But you know what? My daughter has what's she got? A bearded dragon.
She doesn't have it anymore.
She gave it away? Good. Well, she gave it away because she's pregnant. I'm not supposed to tell that. Oh, well, by now people would have known. I'm sorry. My daughter's going to have a baby. I'm going to get to be a Paco. Yes, my grandchildren are going to call me Paco. So
Paco,
it's a long story. Do what?
Paco and Patty.
Yes, my husband's going to be Patty. We're going to be Paco and Patty. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be a grandmother. It's really fun. I can't wait. But I wasn't supposed to say anything. But she hasn't... By the time this gets to y'all, it's going to be the 18th. But really today it's just the 5th. So y'all can know by now. So I almost blew it. Don't tell me secrets. No, do. Tell me secrets. Okay. So anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, the bearded dragon. They stink too. She had a bearded dragon, but pregnant people should not have bearded dragons because they can get salmonella poisoning. Yeah, so she was really afraid of that. So she gave away her adorable little bearded dragon that bit people, and I didn't like him either. His name was Spyro. Okay, so organisms in class Arachnida have 5 common characteristics. One of them is that they have 4 pairs of walking legs. That's 8 legs. Cephalothorax instead of separate head and thorax. That means that their head and thorax are together in one thingy. They usually have 4 pairs of simple eyes. So they have 4 on one side, 4 on another, 8 eyes. They have no antennas, and their respiration is dung. Their respiration is dung.
Yep.
You know what dung is, honey?
Yep.
What? Poop. Boop. No, there's no poop in their lungs. Their respiration is done through what's called book lungs, which is really kind of cool. Book lungs are actually kind of like gills. So y'all know when a fish is in the water and it's swimming through the water, it's got these gills. The water comes in and out, and the fish absorbs the oxygen to breathe from the water, and it gets into their bloodstream through the gills. How stinking cool is that? I think that's just awesome. But what's even awesomer is that's going to be the picture. Did y'all see that face I just made? That's going to be that it gets me. Okay, so spiders have this little tiny slit under their bellies. I like to take a knife and shove something up in there. I can't stand spiders. So anyway, but that's how you kill spiders. You put out this powder granule, and it gets up in their little, what's it called? Good law. I had it on here. It's on here somewhere. I think it's called a spicule. Spiracle. They're spherical. What happens is, with fish, the water goes through the gills and they absorb the oxygen from the water, and the rest of the water is pushed back out, okay? With the book lungs, it's like this little slit that's under their belly that kind of looks like this, kind of like gills. And the air goes in through there, and then it's absorbed into its system, kind of like the open respiratory system, the open circulatory system. So that's kind of cool. Look here on this page. It says this shows two different kinds of spiders. The one on the left is a tarantula. There is no, okay, I'm sure God has a use for them. They probably eat a lot of bugs and stuff, but I don't want to see them. Now, this other one is a garden spider. Now, you'll know that a garden spider can be about this big, legs and all. And they're beautiful. They make the most gorgeous webs. I never want to tear down a garden spider's web because besides bats are your number one thing that will eat mosquitoes. Garden spiders are pretty close in number two. They can trap so many mosquitoes in their web because their web, you can see here, holds to moisture. And so those mosquitoes are drawn to that moisture, and the mosquitoes get stuck, the garden spider gets food, and we don't have skeeters. Okay? Good thing to have garden spiders. Please don't ever kill them. Just don't look at them. Okay? Just don't make eye contact. If you don't make eye contact, they're not there. Okay. Can y'all hear that? My husband's downstairs playing the Ramones. They're not my favorite, but he is like deaf, and so all of his music is like incredibly loud. So he's downstairs. So if you hear funky music, it's coming from him. Right now he's listening to the Ramones. Hey, ho, let's go. They're kind of an old punk band from the 80s. So anyway, and one of the ugliest lead singers y'all ever seen in your life. Google him, the Ramones. Joey Ramone. Anyway, I don't even like their music. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Spider silk is very flexible, but at the same time, it's super strong. If you were to weave a rope out of spider silk, it would be stronger than a steel pipe. That's pretty cool. Okay, I already got my phone out. Hang on. I looked up something for y'all. Oh, I missed a phone call, Dookie. Let's see. Let's see. Where did it go? There it is. Okay, we're going to talk about the different kind of webs that a spider can weave. And I got you some pictures, but I got to click on them. Okay, the first kind is called a sheet web. Now you can see these a lot in the fall. Y'all know on bushes how it just looks like there's a sheet of spider webs. They look, oh, can you see it? Oh, the light is messing it up. Daggone it. How do I do that to where it's not going to do that? Duke. There we go. I got it real close. That is a sheet web right there. The second kind of web that we're going to talk about is a tangle web. Images. Oh, come on. Tangle webs don't really have, oh, that's a good one. Tangle webs don't really have any form or fashion. Black widows are in tangle webs. And you'll see these in the cobwebs are a form of tangle webs. You'll see them like that. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Okay, and I'll get it close this time. That is a tangle web. See how it doesn't really have any, looks like it was just thrown together, but man, they can catch a bunch of stuff inside of that. Okay. And then the last kind of web is an orb web, and it sounds like exactly what it is. What is an orb? Anyone? An orb is like a circle. Oh, I wish I could spell. That would just, or I can type, I can spell, I just can't type. Dad burn it. Let's see. O-R-B. Oh, I typed it wrong again. What is wrong with me? Don't answer that question. Okay. Ooh, there's a pretty one. This is an orb web. And it's what you typically would think a web would look like. Oh, come on. Seriously, for reals? It keeps blocking me out. Hang on. I'll find another one. Let's look at this one. Okay. This is an orb web, and it's exactly like what you would think Spider-Man would do. It looks just like that big circular web. Orb means circle or a ball, and that's what that is. And they catch, they know that stuff gets on their orb web by vibration. So that's super cool. Love that one. And then there are trapdoor spiders, trapdoor webs. And what that is they don't live up in things at all. These spiders live down in the ground, and then they make a little web over the hole. And then when little things walk by it, they fall through the web. That web is really thin, but they fall through the web and land down in the hole where the spider is, and he goes, I'm never doing that again. Okay. Spider's anatomy. Let's look at that a little bit. They've got silk glands and spinnerets. The silk glands produces the silk. The spinnerets spins it and shoots it out of its rear end. This is the open book system. The open circulatory system I was talking about. See the big on page 379. Look at that big red blood vessel there, right? So we've got our big red blood vessel, and then it's got all these little fingers that just dumps the blood into those organs. Okay. There is an intestine in there. You can see ovaries. There's an oviduct. That's where the egg from the ovary goes out. On the bottom, you can see its book lungs. Its stomach is up by its head. It has stomach branches that branches out. Whatever it eats, the stuff gets the nutrients from it, goes into its bloodstream. It has a mouth down low underneath. It has fangs. Spiders can be poisonous. Most spiders have a venom. Did you know, and I heard this, and my husband says he doesn't know about it, but I've heard that Granddaddy Longlegs, that they are very poisonous. That they're poisonous. However, they don't have the ability to drop their bodies down to bite someone. It's easier for them to collect things in their web or to crawl or whatever, but I had heard that. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that it's a stated fact. I'm just saying that I heard it. So if I read it on the internet, it's probably true. Okay. So they have their poison glands where they can inject and paralyze their prey so they can eat it. They've got all those stupid eyeballs. They've got their book lungs under their belly, their silk glands, their spinnerets. Its anus is very different than the spinnerets. Its anus is where it poops. Digestive gland that leads to that, and its little heart. The red thing, that circulatory system there, is its heart. It doesn't look like anything you've ever seen. It's really long. Okay, turn the page. Now we're going to look at another kind that is the class Cleopoda and Diplopoda. I thought somebody was pulling in my driveway. Let's look in this section about centipedes and millipedes. These are two things that I never care to see either. In your picture at the bottom of the page 380, you will see a centipede on the left and a millipede on the right. The centipede does not actually have 100 legs, but who wants to stand around and count them? Each segment has 2 legs, one on each side. So you can look at this one and see that per segment there is a leg on one side and a leg on the other. The centipede has antenna, and that's where it's its sensory organ, where it senses what's going on. It can taste and smell through those antennae as well. Let's see. Ooh, it has poisonous claws. So you don't want to get bitten by a centipede. Now, A millipede, it also has segments. Its segments are much shorter than the centipedes, and it has 2 legs per segment. It has no antenna. One of the things that is interesting about it is very docile, where the centipede is a fierce predator. It's very aggressive, and it's poison too, so you don't want to get near it. The scarier looking, grosser millipede is very docile. It's non-poisonous, and it's long, and it's a chicken. When it gets scared, it wads up in a little ball. It looks like a little shell, and that often repels the predators because it looks like a shell. That's kind of cool too. Okay, now we're going to class Insecta. My nephew, who is now 38, he's 38. Yeah, I know I have a 38-year-old nephew. Let's see. When he was in let's see, Patrick and I started today. I guess he was 32. Yes. He was 6, and he had to do a little report on insects, and his mama, the first time I ever met them, we went to their house to visit, and she showed me this little book that he had drawn of all these bugs and stuff, but on the very front of it, it said INSEX, insects. So we always thought that was so sweet. And that's the first thing that I ever remember. Well, I remember a couple other things about him, but that was the first thing. Leela was so excited, my sister-in-law, about that. She thought it was hilarious that he wrote insects. So anyway, he's so cute. He's still cute, and he's 38. He's got 3 little boys that I could just eat up with a spoon.
I know.
They're my babies. So now we're going to insects, class Insecta. And class Insecta is the largest by population. It's the largest class in creation. Now, you really don't think about it that way, because I think we're all just kind of a little egotistical and think that humans are most abounding. But no, we're not. Think about how many bugs you see outside just of your house. No, there are insects everywhere. So the characteristics for Insecta are they have 3 pairs of walking or jumping legs. They usually have wings at some stage in their life, 1 pair of antennae, and 3 segments: head, thorax, and abdomen. Okay? Insect legs. They are typically connected to the thorax. That's the middle part, okay? Their wings can be either membranous, scaled, leather-like, or horned. The membranous wings are like fly's wings. You know what a fly's wing looks like? It just looks like there's little membranes through it. Then we have scaled wings, which have tiny little scales on them, and that's a butterfly. That's why they always tell you never catch a butterfly by its wings. They'll say it's got a little powder on there. What it is you fracture those scales, and it can't fly like it normally would. That will kill it if it can't fly, because something's going to get it. Plus, it can't get its food and all that. Let's see, they are not transparent either. Leather-like wings appear to be part of the exoskeleton. This is like a roach. Did you know that roaches have wings? That's not its exoskeleton on the back. They are nasty-looking wings, but they look like its exoskeleton. Horned wings often look like leather wings, and an example of that is a ladybug. Now, have you ever noticed it on a ladybug? It'll have her little round, hard shell on the outside that looks kind of like the leather-like wings would. However, there is a little tiny fleck at the bottom of the wing that looks like a little horn. They're horned wings. Okay? Basic anatomy of an insect. You can review that on page 382. That is 12.9. That is a grasshopper. It'll show you all the details that you need to see there. The respiration and circulatory system of an insect. They have no respiratory system. Weird, huh? They have interconnecting tubes called tracheas, which is very similar. It's the same word as what we use for our trachea or our windpipe. I wrote something there, but I can't see it. Can't see what I wrote. How bugs breathe through their trachea, these little interconnecting tubes in their body. Outside of a series of small holes in the exoskeletal called spiracles, very much like the book lungs, they have the little spiracles, the little slit underneath that brings the air in. Okay. Do they have a circulatory system? Yes, and this is evidenced by what's called a dorsal blood vessel. Dorsal means along the back, so this blood vessel runs along the back. Let's see, you can find it here in the grasshopper, that little green line right across the very back. Cells need more than just oxygen to survive. They need to expel more than just carbon dioxide. Thus, the blood flows across the tissue. Remember that it's an open circulatory system, and that will give them all their vital nutrients. Feeding habits. Did you know that they have jaws? This is a mandible. This is called the maxilla. This is a mandible. They have jaws to eat. You can see that here in this picture. It's got a little mandible. Mosquitoes do not have a mandible, though. Mosquitoes have that little sucky tube. I say death to mosquitoes. I really don't know what their function in life is. Maybe to carry diseases. You know how we talked about those rabbits in Australia? The mosquitoes carried that virus to kill them? Maybe that's what they're for. I don't know. I'll ask God that one day when I see him. Once food has entered the mouth, the most differences between insects disappear. Food is mixed with secretions from the salivary glands. It has little spit glands. The food then passes through the esophagus and goes to the crop, where it's stored for later use. So the crop is like a little holding gut. The crop is like a little holding gut. The gizzard emptied, then the crop enters into the gizzard, and the gizzard empties into the stomach, where it's mixed with digestive juices. And undigested food will then pass through the intestine, rectum, and out its anus. Okay. Reproduction and development. It has egg stage, larva stage, pupa stage, and adult stage. It goes through little worms. They start out as like little worms and end up being grown insects. Butterflies, however, you know that they go through metamorphosis through a chrysalis. Now, there is a complete metamorphosis and an incomplete metamorphosis. Look on page 384, and that will get us there. Complete metamorphosis is an insect development consisting of 4 stages: the egg, larva, pupa, and adult. And then the incomplete metamorphosis is where it is in 3 stages instead of 4: the egg, nympha, and adult. When an insect develops through incomplete metamorphosis, it hatches from an egg in the nymph stage. Roaches do that, and mama roaches will carry the nymphs, the eggs, on her back until they hatch. In this stage, the insect looks like a miniature version of its adult form. It will. Whenever they hatch, they look like little tiny flecks of brown dots, but they look like little tiny roaches. Sadly, I have seen them and I hate them. A few orders of the class Insecta, or order Lepidoptera. I always mess that up. Let's see. Lepidoptera before is butterflies and moths. They have scaled wings. Do you know the difference between a butterfly and a moth? The differences are very subtle. In the adult stage, the antenna of a moth usually look feathery, while the antenna of a butterfly looks like straight stalks on the knob of its head. Finally, when butterflies rest on the ground or sit on top of a plant, they typically hold their wings vertically, where moths, on the other hand, spread their wings. So that's kind of how you can tell whenever it's resting. Pretty cool. Another one is Hymenoptera, which is ants, bees, and wasps. Ants, I get. Bees and wasp. I guess I'd have to watch the bee movie again because I don't like bees. I don't like wasps at all. These are scaled wings, of course. Hymen means membrane. And Ptera, ptera, means wings. So these are membranous wings. Think about a bee's wings. Think about an ant's wings. They're very clear and membranous. So the scaled wings are not the only kind that you can have, but these are membranous wings, Hymenoptera. The other order is Coleoptera, and that is beetles. No, not John, Paul, George, and Ringo, but that would be so much cooler if it was. Because my husband's still downstairs listening to the Ramones. I'd rather hear the Beatles. This is the largest class within class Insecta. It's the largest order in the animal kingdom. Coleoptera. This means sheath wings in Greek. Ptera means wings. Coleop means sheath. All members of this order have a horned wing. Beetles have voracious appetites. They'll eat just about anything. Sometimes it's a good thing and sometimes it's bad. Y'all know those Japanese beetles that take over in the summer that eat all of our plants. They'll they'll take over good bushes and flowers and they'll just eat just anything. I mean, they can really ruin stuff. When I was a kid, okay, I was in like 6th or 7th grade, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's right. I was in like 6th or 7th grade, and we had a Japanese beetle infestation in this part of the country. And they were so bad. I mean, they were everywhere, and they were eating all of our trees, and they were killing things. It was really bad. So what we did is we took milk jugs, and we hung them outside. I mean, we hung them in different places outside, and those Japanese beetles would go to the milk jug and go in, but they couldn't figure out how to get out. So we would have many milk jugs just full of Japanese beetles. Isn't that crazy? So anyway, that's interesting. There are beetles, however, like the Japanese beetle and the rice weevil that destroy crops. Well, there you go. Many beetles feed on insects that damage crops. So some beetles are good. And then you have dung beetles. Annie, what's dung? Poop. They eat the poop. And I really like those too because I think they're fun to watch. They will get a little piece of poop and just roll it. They look so cute. Okay. Order Diptera on page 388. These are flies, gnats, and mosquitoes. They call them Diptera. Okay. I think it's because they dip their tongue down in stuff. And have you ever seen a mosquito? They have that tongue that dips. Have y'all ever seen a fly when it lands on you? It dips their tongue. That's how it eats. And gnats, same thing. They dip their tongue into things. They have membranous wings. They fly. If you've ever tried to catch a gnat, it's awful. My daughter got married 4 years ago this July. And right around her wedding, we just had this swarm of gnats in our house. It was just horrible. And we were so tired of seeing these stupid gnats. So finally we got some fly traps and that got rid of them. But man alive, we tried everything to get rid of those gnats. They were so annoying. But when you try to catch them, oh my gosh, it was like the Karate Kid. You know, you just trying to catch those stupid gnats. And then you have the order Orthoptera. They are grasshoppers and crickets. Do y'all smell that? It smells floral.
No, I don't smell
Maybe it's me. Anyway, okay. Orthoptera are leather-like wings that cover and protect the membranous wings. They have membranous wings that help them fly, but they have layers on top of that help protect those flat wings. Now, your assignment for this week is 1, do your test, and it's open book. Yes, I know I am just precious. please take a piece of notebook paper and write your answers on the piece of notebook paper and scan it to me. Put them in order. 1, answer. 2, answer. 3, answer. Got it? Please, if you don't want to write it out, then type it out and send it to me. It would be really easy to type it and send it to me. 1, because I could actually read it. 2, because you could just go straight from your typing and email a document. That'd be cool. Okay. Then the next thing that I need you to do is your on your own. Same thing. You can type it or you can write it and scan it. The last thing I want you to do is I am 99% sure that in your folder you should have this insect classification. I want you to do this insect classification this week. It's not hard. It's a lot of fun. And it has full instructions on what to do. And I think that's it. Guys, we are at 40 minutes and 43 seconds, and we have finished this entire module. There is a section on the test that has to do with the, what's it called? Crayfish. You can use your book for that. That's one of the reasons I made it open book. But when we do the dissection here in a few weeks, when we do the dissection, then we will have, we will go over it completely then. So it might be like you're learning it for the first time, but you'll have this memory of these invertebrates with an exoskeleton. You'll have this memory of that. So that should be really helpful. Okay. So these, they're not invertebrates, they're arthropods. So just get to reading, test on your own, lab, and that'll be your work for the week. Okay. This is for January the 18th, and I'll see you next time. Maybe wearing this same shirt. I may be doing it tonight. See ya. Bye.